Hey girly, I know you're desperate, really freaking desperate to get the soft life, which is why we're gonna get into 5 toxic secrets that are gonna give you the soft life. The secrets I'm about to spill on you will be toxic. You're gonna be like, I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna do this. This is toxic. This is bad. If you want things to change in your life, girl, things are gonna have to freaking change. That means sometimes you're gonna have to do things that you don't wanna do. And you're desperate, right? You're desperate for the soft life. So sometimes you gotta take desperate measures, which is why we're gonna get into really toxic secrets that are gonna give you the soft life you always dreamt of. Secret number 1 is ghost everybody and their mom. If you want a soft life where you are actually rested, at peace, and you're not dealing with everybody and their mom's BS, including your own BS, you're gonna have to isolate yourself. You're gonna have to cut out a lot of people. And I don't want you to start sending them messages like, hey, I'm gonna be ghosting you from now on because some lady on the internet said that I should be ghosting you. No, you're gonna have to remove your energy without getting the validation of telling them that you're doing so. Because the reason why you're stuck never getting the soft life is because most likely you're actually addicted to toxicity as much as your toxic friends and family are. And because you're addicted to being able to tell everybody and their mom that you're a victim and the world is doing all of this and all of that towards you and everybody else should change and your mom did this and your dad did this and now they owe you something in return. That's why you're not getting the peace and the prosperity and everything that you actually want. That's why you keep bringing in all types of freaking negativity into your life. Because not only are you feeding into their negativity, their victim mentalities whenever you're around them, because you're probably a people pleaser and you feel like if you're not making them feel validated, talking about all the negative things they bring up, then there's going to be no one to validate all the negative things that you bring up. It's basically a never-ending cycle of you being negative, them being negative, and you being dragged into more negativity because now you're validating their negativity and you're getting a cushion out of being negative because it's nice to be able to tell strangers, oh, I went through all of this and all of that, and they're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And now you get a little bit of negative energy to fuel you with, knowing that you don't have to change if you just keep on saying negative things about your life. Basically, it's going to be toxic because you do not want to face your toxic self. You've been delegating your toxic self to everybody and their mom, and you've been handling everybody's toxic energy yourself as well. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cut out people. You're going to have to cut out friends you've been around for a long time and that you've just not really questioned, or you're always like feeling like a little drained after being around them, and you're gonna have to not talk to maybe your family for a while. This is gonna help give you the soft life because you're gonna sit with your own energy for the first time in forever. You're gonna actually sit with your own energy instead of delegating it and hoping you're gonna get breadcrumbs back. And when you're sitting with your own energy instead of always wanting to get energy from others or giving energy to others, you're going to realize how toxic your own energy is. Because what's going to happen is that instead of being able to tell everybody and their mom all of the things you went through and overshare with them, all of the things that are unfair, you're going to be having those thoughts in your head, wanting to share them, and you're going to get sick of that. And you have to go through the process of getting sick of your own misery, because when you're always delegating it, you're not going to feel like it's that bad. It's just going to feel kind of like you're getting something good out of it, which is the cushion of being able to tell people that. But when you're sitting with it alone, you're not getting any cushion. You're literally just draining yourself because you're telling yourself, oh, this bad stuff happened to me. Which is why you have to ghost everybody and their mom. And this also goes for not dating. And you might think, oh my God, am I not going to get the soft life through a man? I mean, obviously you can. But the soft life is more so a state of mind, which means you also have to be comfortable with sitting with your own energy by yourself, which means that you can't actually heal your toxic energy, which is attracting negative partners or people that are going to be narcissistic or what, unless you sit with it alone. What? Unless you get to face it all on your own, you're not going to progress as quickly as you want. Which is why for the girlies, especially if you're younger, take that year away from dating. And you might say, oh my God, that's so long. I could meet my soulmate. Actually, if you take your time off dating, you actually might run into your soulmate out in the wild because you are focusing your energy inwards, and where energy goes, energy flows. Law of attraction, bam. Toxic secret number 2 is get off the freaking dating app. The same way that you shouldn't be dating. If you do actually want to be dating, you have to get off the dating apps. Nothing screams desperation or I want a hard life more than being on a dating app, because dating apps are actually set up to get women to lower their standards and get men to feel like they are worth more and they are better. It's basically when men go on dating apps, they're seeing an array of women. Even though they haven't matched with them, they can still message them if they pay for it or if they have a couple coupons for it, and they can tell them horrible things. They can even shame women for not matching with them before they match with them. They feel because this woman is right in front of them and they can read about her and they can like look at her, that they have claim to her. Something also happens to women psychologically when they sign up for dating apps. They let their guards down more and they let themselves get played easier, because essentially when you sign up for a dating app and you press yes, I consent to letting my information get used by this dating app, and you're putting all of this stuff out, you're literally saying this is a commercial for me. This is marketing for me. Look here, I am marketable. And of course, it's called the dating market for a reason. You're literally out here saying like, this is who I am. Do we go together? But with the dating apps, women are commodified. And technically, you're going to be trying to be efficient when you're trying to go out there and like see how many likes and how many matches you can get. That is how the apps are set up. They're set up like a game. And they're also set up to diminish women's self-esteem. They're set to build up men's self-esteem because they have an easier way of getting to women without actually having to do so much. But they also diminish women's self-esteem, especially the like easy go-to dating apps. There's a reason these platforms are free. You are the product. Remember this, when you get something for free, it's usually not free. There's usually a catch. And that catch is you, because you're a catch. But jokes aside, you're not meant to have as many matches as you get on these dating apps. It's essentially saying, here, interact with me however you fit so. It's kind of like a princess at court who's like, oh, all of my suitors are gonna come to me and provide me with gifts saying that why they should marry me, have my hand in marriage. But the suitors are actually not like princes and kings that are like, I want a wife and I can offer you half the kingdom. What they're actually offering is some nasty emojis or like rude stuff. You're just gonna be setting yourself up for getting a lot of terrible emojis and a lot of rude comments from people that feel like they have access to your time. And I'm not saying dating apps can't be useful, but if you have not healed yourself, aka done what I just said you should do before, cut out people and sit with your own energy, you're not gonna get any soft life results from dating apps whatsoever. Because what's going to happen is that you are going to literally be out here heaving for attention because you're probably a people pleaser or you're probably someone with a victim mentality. So that's what you're going to create. And dating apps are set up for you to like amplify whatever it is you got going on in your head. It is super easy for you to do that because it doesn't really feel like it's a real human sometimes. And you also might not know how much you're actually seeking validation until you kind of feel like, oh, checking the profile is addicting. That's why deleting them is really, really healthy. Getting rid of them is super, super good. It's going to feel toxic because you're going to be like, where am I going to meet people? But sometimes it's not your time to meet people. And sometimes it's also better to sit with your own energy. Dating apps can be good for some individuals that have their mind in the right place. But if you are a people pleaser, if you are what they call an empath, if you are someone who has had toxic narcissistic relationships, you gotta get off them. You gotta get off them for a while because you are gonna be more prone to seeking validation. And it's not setting you up for the soft life, it's setting you up for the hard life. And when you remove your energy from these dating apps, you're gonna feel like, wow, I actually have a lot of energy to give to myself. You're not going to be focused on marketing yourself. You're going to be more focused on making your life better for you, which is also why like it's crazy that you have to be 18 to have these apps. And like when you're 18, your brain isn't even fully developed to make these choices. I could make a whole video diving into this. Anyways, you're not setting yourself up for the soft life. You're setting yourself up for arguing with people that are just here to steal your energy, because a lot of people understand that going on dating apps is an easy way to steal energy. So get off those, delete them, and sit with the feeling of like, oh, I've deleted them. It's going to be better for you. Trust me. Toxic secret number 3 is get obsessed with what you want. You cannot be focusing on all the freaking things that you don't want. I don't want a narcissistic partner. I don't want my hair to look like this. I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want this type of job. If you want a soft life, you have to speak light into reality that you want. The reason why a lot of women end up creating a non-soft life for themselves is because we are set up from the get-go to always speak energy into negativity, which is something that feels super natural. It's super easy to always be talking about all the things we don't want. But women are very powerful manifestors, and when we speak, we create. That is literally what abracadabra means. It means what we say, we create. Which is why we have to stop focusing on the things we don't want, the things that we don't like, all of this stuff. We have to start focusing on creation, on dreaming bigger. The reason why you're probably desperate for the soft life is because you haven't let yourself dream. You haven't let yourself feel the emotions of what it means to actually have the things you want. You probably have at some point in your life felt the happiness, the love, the great things that come with being happy. Your mind and the universe, which is one, by the way, can only take you towards what you focus on. You can only get whatever it is you put your energy into, which is why as a woman, it's very important to focus on the things that we do want. Because if we focus on all the things we don't want, that's what we're gonna get more of. And that's why we end up having these hard lives, because we're constantly focusing on all the things that make us unhappy, all the things we don't want. We're speaking a lot of negative energy into people and situations instead of removing our energy from it and focusing on the things we do want. And let me give you an example to prove to you why this is true. This is super simple. Don't think about an apple. Don't think about a book. Don't think about a circus. What did you just think about when I said don't? I could say the same thing with do not think about a lip liner. Do not think about a man. The whole I do not want this, I do not want that, I do not like this. You're just focusing on the thing that you want. You can't unsee it. You're basically putting energy into the things you don't want, which is what you're going to create more of. Which is exactly why women that always focus on all of the people that have played them and all of the negative things they've gone through, they are the women who are going to end up going through that over and over again. And they're going to be like, oh my God, the world is happening to me, not for me. But in reality, they're actually just creating it because they're focusing their energy onto it, which is a really natural thing to do because it's easy to continue in the patterns we've always continued in, which is why we have to switch it up. If you want a healthy, soft life where you get the things you want, you have to make space for talking about the things you want, for loving the things you want, for speaking them into reality. This is exactly why oversharing is actually just creating the life we don't want, especially oversharing our past. But also remember this, we don't have do not vision boards. We don't have do not affirmations. We have vision boards with the lives we do want, not the lives we don't want. You can use the things that you don't want as a contrast to figure out what it is that you do want. But if you do want a soft life, you have to figure out what does that soft life entail, not what does that soft life not entail. What type of partner, what type of characteristics does this person have? And if you've only ever had negative things in your life, you have to get very creative. You have to start watching movies with good people in them. I can recommend getting a book where every single day you write down the positive things you see in your life and experience that are close to what you want. If you see a beautiful couple walking, looking happy, that's what you write down. You're not going to only write down the things that are exactly what you want. The universe is going to bring you more of whatever it is you want when you write down that you observe it. Which is also why when you want the soft life, you have to focus your energy on the things that the soft life entails. And the more you focus on one detail and one detail, you're going to realize all of the other details that fit into that soft life puzzle. And that's why the whole process of getting the soft life also requires for you to remove yourself from others, because you have to sit down with this and start having the mental time and the energy to focus on the positive things and the things that you do want, instead of only speaking energy into the things you don't want with friends, family, or potential partners, dating. Only then can you figure out what it is that you actually want. And then you can start attracting it because you're saying, oh, I'm speaking it into reality. And this also goes when it comes to dating. If you're always someone who's talking about all the things you don't want, You're gonna get more of that. And healthy people, a healthy man is not gonna like a woman who's constantly talking about her trauma. And it's okay to talk with a partner about things you've gone through when you've been in a relationship with them for a while. But a healthy person will literally rebuke someone who is constantly talking about all the negative things they went through, because they have no idea how they're going to make this person happy. They can't make them happy because they're only talking about negative things. And that's going to make a healthy person stay far away. And what's that going to leave? It's only going to leave all the bad people left. A healthy person will remove themselves from you if you're constantly focusing on what you don't want. A healthy person will be attracted to you if you know to speak energy into the life you want. And this doesn't mean being like, I want this, I want that, I want that. It just means speaking positivity, like, oh, I really love perfumes. I really love movies. I really love makeup. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I just got this new lip gloss. I really love makeup. It's super fun to experiment with. Or, oh, you like my outfit? Isn't it great? What's your favorite type of designer clothing? All of this. Just being fun with it. Toxic secret number 4 is start playing dumb. If you want the soft life, you have to stop trying to be the person who's always proving to everybody how smart they are, how much they've changed their life, and look at me, I did all of this and now I'm such a different person. You have to start playing dumb to protect your energy, build your energy, and make sure when you're in bad environments, you do not stay in those environments. Us women, we have a tendency to want to prove ourselves, especially to people from the past that did us wrong. And if you're unhealed, it's also very easy to start arguing with people if they bring up sensitive topics. This is something that men or people that have scarcity mindset know, and they use it to their benefit. A lot of women base their whole entire existence on what they can be and do for others, which means they base their validity and the validation they get on other people's energy, which is why they always want to prove themselves, show everybody, well, I'm a smart woman, I'm a boss woman, look at all of these things I can do everything that a man can do. The men are like, oh yeah, show me, do it then. And us women, we think we're outsmarting the men, like, oh yeah, I showed him how I did all of this, I really gave him one. But the scarcity mindset of people or men who don't believe you can have it all and understand that the universe is unlimited, they see you outperforming them as one, a threat, but also a gateway to use your energy because they don't like the fact that you have more. They think because you can do more and you can be more and you're smart and you are both beautiful and smart and all of this as a threat. Because if you have a scarcity mindset, you're not going to believe that you can have everything. You're going to only believe that you can only have some things, and everything that you have comes at the expense of others, aka them. Which is why one of the best things you can do as a woman, especially if you want to get into better environments that literally cherish you for your beauty and your smartness and think you're amazing, you have to stop proving yourself. You have to start leaning more into being the fun, giddy type who's only really going to interact with people if they're bringing something fun out to the table, if they're making your life better. Playing dumb doesn't mean not knowing the difference between blue and green. It means understanding that you are worth it regardless of you proving yourself, you being someone who's super efficient. And the reason it gives you a more soft life is it keeps you out of conflict and it keeps you out of energy harvesting. Because when you're constantly trying to show that you're the woman who knows it all and you can do it all, people will make you do it all. And then you have no literal chance of being able to help yourself to get to a better point. Because you're stuck trying to prove to stupid people how smart you are. And you know what happens then? You both look stupid from a distance. They just want to harvest your energy because they do not like the fact that they can see that you have some energy. And they think, as I said before, that you having some energy means that they don't have it and it's a competition. At the same time, it's also important to understand that if you feel like you need to prove to people how smart you are, is also most likely a reflection of you feeling like you're not worthy unless you do things. So it's also a reflection of you having a scarcity mindset yourself. A person who has an abundance mindset does not care if people think they're stupid. They do not care to prove themselves. They do not care to interact with people to show them one up. Because they're like, I have all of me, I got me, I'm amazing. Me interacting with other people does not affect that. Playing dumb is much more to do with preserving your energy and not leaning into the scarcity of other people. When you also play dumb, you make space for people to accommodate you. Because if you're a woman who's a little too obsessed with your looks and you're always like fun and like bubbly, people have to accommodate that. It is always better for you as a woman to be a personality hire rather than being an efficiency hire. As a woman, you can get away with that much easier when you're also a little obsessed with clothing and your looks and like you're a little extravagant. Which is also why, as a neurodivergent girly, you having zero social cues and you not exactly understanding what's going on and not being able to keep eye contact can be really good. When you get over the hurdle of feeling like you need to fit in and you need to mask and you need to all of this, it can be really good for you to be the girl who's just kind of like, oh, I didn't quite get that. Can you explain it for me? Or, oh, I don't know how to do this. Or, wow, really? People are going to feel way more competent in your company when you're not constantly trying to be the one who's got a one-up. You're also going to get to relax way more because you're not focused on feeding into everybody's energy with your energy. And you're also going to get to have much more fun because the life you're literally creating for yourself is not arguing with people. It is speaking whatever it is you want into existence. People are going to seek you to make you speak your life into existence. They're going to be like, oh, what do you want? How can I help you? And that's when you speak whatever it is you want into existence. Simple as that. This also goes for when you get really, really triggered. When you get triggered and you enter into arguments with people, and if you enter into arguments with people in comment sections on social media, you are literally getting energy harvested constantly. It's going to be so hard for you to create your dream life. The triggeredness is literally you feeling like you have to control people. That's what a people pleaser does. They feel like they need to control people's emotions, and how people feel about certain things has an effect on what you think and how you feel. And in reality, we can't control how other people feel. We can't control other people's opinions. When we get triggered about things, we have to understand that we're actually letting ourselves get triggered. You're going to have to understand that being triggered is a reflection of a lot of the times you wanting to make sure that you control everybody and their mom's opinion. You're going to influence much more people with your own opinion and your own life and change people's minds easier when you live for yourself, by yourself, and you live your happy self than you would trying to argue with everybody and their mom constantly. You're just draining your energy, which is keeping you from focusing your energy on yourself. That energy you could have turned into a lot of money. You could have turned it into a career. You could have turned it into so many things that could have brought you to a place where you could give back to people and inspire them to be better and actually follow whatever it is you believe in. Which is also why when it comes to helping your friends and family grow, you have to don't do that. That's also a place where you got to play dumb. You got to play dumb and be like, I don't know. I don't get this. Oh, I'm not trying to help myself grow. I'm doing the same old, same old. Don't share with people your goals and your visions and all of the big things you want to achieve, especially right away when you meet. Or with your friends and family when you're starting out. You need to let those dreams set like a mousse or like a, I don't know, what sets? Like those dishes that housewives made in the 50s that were all like jelly. You got to let it set first. You discovering that you can grow, you can do all of these things to make your life easier and better. You gotta gatekeep that for a while until they see that you removing your energy has significantly improved your life. And then they're gonna start asking questions. And maybe one day when they're ready for it, they will be able to take some advice. But they have to seek it themselves. You can't help them with it. And you can't argue with them about growth. You have to do it on your own and let them sit in their own sauce. That's the easiest way for them to actually get tired of themselves, aka they have to sit with their own toxicity, just like you did in the beginning. And then you will grow. Both of you. Don't try to convince people to grow. Don't try to convince people how to make their life better. Playing dumb is a protection mechanism. And playing dumb doesn't mean you can't talk about your special interests and stuff. It just means you're not feeding into the whole, I need to prove myself. I need to show them how I'm doing. And it's going to bring you so much peace when you no longer feel like you need to show people how smart you are. You're also going to realize how freaking smart a decision it is because more people are going to accommodate you and you're going to have an easier time just being. And toxic secret number 5 is you have to recreate yourself. You're going to have to change the way you do things. And that might mean you have to change the way you dress to express that you are someone who actually deserves the soft life. The easiest way for you to get the things you want is to look like the life you want. And you might say, well, this is my true self. The person I am now is my true self. The way I dress now is my true self. I should be able to live as that version of myself. You might be defending your true self like crazy. But think about this. Isn't your true self the version of you who has everything that you want? The life you want, the soft life that you're craving so bad? Isn't your true self the one who doesn't have to constantly argue? Isn't the true self the one who isn't watching this video because you already have the soft life? If you are not living the life you want yet, the version of you are right now is not your true self. Obviously, it is you, but it is not the version of you who has everything that you want. So why are you freaking defending it and trying to keep it in a cage, saying that this is the only way things can be? You are keeping yourself from becoming the version of you that is gonna have everything. And because you're holding on so tightly to the version of you that you used to be, or that you are right now, and the way you dress and the way you do your makeup and the way that this and this and that, the way your hair is, everything. That like tight hole, like that like pull, like that, no, we gotta keep it in the cage. We gotta make sure it's controlled and it's perfect and it gotta be like this. And if it's not like this, my whole world is gonna shatter. Like a freaking strain to me, constantly trying to control everything, constantly defending, constantly trying to make sure that everything happens in a specific way. The version of you that has everything that you want is going to be a version of you that's completely different. It's going to be a version of you who moves completely different, who thinks completely different, which is also why you have to let go. And a lot of the times we kind of try to like shame our old self. Like, yeah, my old self is dead. Now I'm going to create a new self. That's not how the soft life girlies do this stuff. That's not how a healthy person deals with their past to move on to their future. What you got to do is you got to tell yourself, your past self, you did really good. I'm so proud of you. You got to thank your old self. You got to give them a hug, not hold them in a cage like, we got to keep to this. We got to keep to this. On defending your old self in the cage while constantly trying to also create a new life because that's what you're craving. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're going to have to get comfortable with the idea of being like, okay, we're gonna not know how things are gonna go. You have to be open for the version of you who's gonna be completely different. It's kind of like when you're going to the freaking theme park, Disneyland, whatever. The night before, you're super excited, but do you have any idea exactly how that trip is gonna go? No. You don't know exactly when you're gonna go pee. You don't know exactly when you're gonna eat this. You don't know exactly like what this ride is gonna be like and who you're gonna meet and all of that. You have a rough idea about what you want, but you can't be defending like, oh, this is exactly how it's gonna go, because you're gonna ruin the freaking fun and you're not gonna get the trip that you actually wanted. And I'm gonna use myself as an example. I am someone who used to heavily freaking defend my streetwear. And granted, I love streetwear. I love streetwear. I love sneakers. I used to have so many pairs of sneakers, but I wasn't living the life that I truly wanted to live. So I realized things needed to change and I started wearing more feminine clothes. I started like wearing more jewelry. You know, I got my nails done. I started leaning more into femininity, quote unquote. And today I love mismatching between feminine clothes and then some streetwear sometimes. And I defended the heck out of my streetwear self. I was like, I'm never gonna stray away from streetwear. This is my true self. That strain was really hard on me. And it kept me from actually discovering that I was so much more. And there was no reason to defend me because the version of you that has everything that you want, whatever it is that meant for you, it's gonna come right back to you. Which is why you can just explore it. Whatever it is that's yours is gonna come right back to you. Whatever it is that's gonna be the right thing for you is gonna come back to you. For me, I had a couple years where I just dressed mainly just really feminine. And now I dress more streetwear again because things come back in season. But we're trying to always make sure that it's the same all the time. And that's why things feel so strained. And that's why we're not living a soft life, because we're not letting ourselves change with softness. And we're also just not letting ourselves have the freedom to be something different. And that's going to let our nervous system feel a strain. Like, oh, what the heck? I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm going to stay the same. Or you're literally bullying yourself into staying the same because you're afraid what's going to happen if you try something new. Trying something new in life is similar to just trying a new ice cream flavor. If you don't like it, you can do something else. And sometimes you got to get used to it. Kind of like living in a country with a different climate. You have to get used to it, but then you might realize it's the best thing that ever happened to you. But you're not going to find the soft life that you actually want unless you're willing to say, okay, this is definitely a new world we're going to have to explore. But that's why dressing feminine is super, super great to make you discover a side of you that you've never seen before. If you're constantly being like the tomboy or defending a specific style, try out the opposite. And this also goes for if you are someone who's super feminine. If you want to create a life where you understand the power of your own creation, try something different, change it up. So those were the 5 toxic secrets. And you might say, well, they're not that toxic. Well, it's gonna sometimes require you to get rid of the toxicity, and that's why it might feel a little toxic. But all in all, these secrets will transform your life when you really apply them. But also, it's mostly about understanding that the soft life requires hard action, and it also requires the need to just sit with your emotions alone for the most part. Because you cannot embrace yourself, the soft little child within you, and really take care of them the way they need to be unless you've stripped all the layers and let them out, let them be, let them explore. As I said, a lot of the times we keep ourselves in a cage. We say we can't change. And when we're doing that, we essentially tell it to our inner child and say, you can't change, you have to stay the same. And imagine being a little child hearing that. Anyways, that was 5 secrets. And I'm super happy you watched this video and can't wait to hear what you have to say. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And also, just remember, be toxic. I actually have way more toxic secrets to get your dream life and the soft life. And a lot of those are about being super mean. So make sure you watch some of my other videos and let me know if you want me to make even more videos that are even more toxic about being mean. That will help you protect and build your power. Anyways, love you.